All right. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another Engineering the Markets. Happy Thursday to everyone joining us. Today is January 26, 2023. As always, my name is Jared. And I figured today it is Thursday, so we're going to kind of keep the discussion a little bit more open. We'll cover a few items that I think are worthy mentions for today. But all in all, we're looking at sort of some sympathy with the Tesla earnings. We're going to be looking at sort of our monthly performance so far as we're kind of heading towards the end of January at this point in time. And also just looking to see what sort of disruption we have next week. A lot of obviously, volatility is kind of getting baked into the market with regards to the FOMC, which is going to be on Tuesday and Wednesday of next week. I think, make sure I get those dates right. Yeah, should be Tuesday and Wednesday. So those kinds of items, I think, are what the market is sort of prepping for. We have plenty of earnings to kind of continuously prepare for. And the overall bias right now continues to be a little bit more of that bullish drift. We're not seeing the type of sell swings that we have experienced in the past. Most of them have either been bought back up, or for the most part, we're seeing some really interesting intraday price activity. Yesterday, I think, was of note because for the most part, I don't think a lot of people would have really played the market all the way back to the close. That sort of gravity that we had towards 400 and the fact that we were gapping down in the morning from Microsoft's earnings. A lot of key tech stocks were following that sympathy. Once that particular name started to recover, it essentially made the rest of the market also follow suit. And I think a lot of names not only went green or just recovered their gap down, but some of them even continued and actually provided some, intraday strength for yesterday's session. So a little bit of a surprise session, to be honest. And there was a couple of patterns we were looking at kind of playing for the bounce, but as far as the follow through, I don't think even I would have anticipated that type of move. It's one of those things where the market can kind of surprise you at times. The pattern that we were looking for was this particular falling wedge. It's kind of a slightly divergent type pattern in that you're still in a downtrend. The market is still making those relative lows. And for the most part, this isn't necessarily the best defined type of falling wedge. You could argue sort of anchoring your highs and lows in this area. But once the trend changed, we were not only breaking through all of the session pivots, but as we started to actually break and make new highs, that trend became sort of the dominant force for the rest of the day. And those types of moves are something you kind of have to be anticipating in this market, because a lot of people, they use price levels to sort of anticipate your highs and your lows. But when it comes to a trend, the highs and the lows are initially established, but they're not necessarily set. In order to kind of set a level, you often want to be breaking trend. And usually when we start to get these session breakouts, something akin to this full box breaking out, what you can often look for is that doubling, especially if the breakout looks pretty good. And that doubling does kind of anticipate where the targets are. But as far as yesterday's market, I didn't really quite see that being the top side of this particular setup. Definitely add some more conservative play to the top side. So For those who are trading with us in the BBT chat room, this was a call out. We were looking for this kind of divergent pattern to break bullish. The type of move that you got, I think you had to be looking at trend following and sort of laddering into that position, because even this pattern sort of has a measured move that it wants to hit, and most of that was hit in the morning or throughout the sort of 10:30, 11 o'clock session. So it's massive. It's kind of one of those markets where you don't want to play around too much with the short term moves, and you want to be looking for those bigger trends, because oftentimes fighting them is temporary. You get the play, you get the pullback, and then after that, there really isn't much else. We've seen pretty major trends on the intraday sessions, but it's all about kind of finding them and trading them appropriately. So I figure we'll talk through Tesla earnings a bit. Tesla, of course, reported yesterday afternoon. For the most part, the price activity was choppy at best. We saw sort of an initial rally. They gave it back. They kind of stalled out near the previous close. And then, of course, we got the earnings call and the guidance. And that's what seems to be moving the market a little bit more decisively in this particular earnings session. We saw with Microsoft as well. That one was more interesting because it actually rallied and stayed high, and then the earnings call reverted that trade. Whereas Tesla, at least in the moment, is keeping some of that upside at this point in time. Was this an unexpected move? The option market would say no. Tesla did price in about a $12 move. And on yesterday's session, we closed out at about 144.50, 145. So getting to 155 to 156 is essentially the expected move for Tesla. When it comes to bias today, I'm kind of looking at this stock as a sympathy gauge. What it does on the intraday is very likely going to kind of follow suit into some riskier tickers and some companies that are a little bit more beaten down. Stocks like XPEV and stocks like Lee are gapping up as well on this morning session. Lee in particular trying to get out of a price region. So that one, from a technical sense, is kind of interesting. But the components of what's making Tesla bullish right now, to me, are equivalent to what the option market expected for the earnings. And what that can mean is on today's session, if that's the highest it wants to go, the downside risk right now is fairly massive, because we really don't have good support on a gap up that sells. An earnings gap up that starts to fade. You could, kind of think about the last round of buyers were somewhere in the 144 region. And then, of course, if we were to start pulling back like that, we have some trapped participants from the downtrend. Not to say that this is a highly impactful region, but as you pull the chart back, you'll also notice this is kind of where Tesla consolidated back in 2020, right before the November breakout of 2020. So this price region for Tesla, from a technical sense, doesn't really indicate a lot of strength to me. The earnings also indicate that it's stalled at this price, or this is the highest it wanted to go. Anything additional, I think, would become sort of like parabolic trading. And I would want to see the option market kind of facilitate some of that by rolling some of the calls to a higher strike. Something as simple as seeing the 155s hold, even a pullback to 150, something that kind of builds a base. and then of course rolling that to higher strikes. If we wanted to continue this move, this would kind of be what's necessary for the next couple days. So bullish in the sense that it's gapping up, but very cautious in this region because of the technicals and simply because Tesla's up 50% from its lows. I know that's kind of a weird way to think about it, but you have to be kind of thinking some smart buyers are down in these price regions and they're experiencing 40 to 50% gain in the past couple of weeks. They've also gotten through earnings. So at this point in time, they might not necessarily see the same sort of potential to the upside as opposed to profit taking, starting to see more selling or just kind of stalling in the price. So a little bit of a tricky name. And I think a lot of things have played out well, but would be very cautious in this price region. So when I think about Tesla in that way, I kind of think about some setups today for the EVs. A stock like Lee, stock like NIO, they have room in their particular technical regions. NIO kind of continuing this kind of slight bounce that it has in a very balanced weekly region, ignoring the halt candle from a couple of days ago. And then Lee trying to break out. It is essentially holding its flag trend. The idea that this is more of a recovery type of trend and a triangle type breakout. So those are looking fine, especially for the short-term play, but it kind of requires Tesla to continue its strength. And I'd be cautious of these as well. If Tesla is selling hard, these can just as easily start to experience that sympathy. And no matter how good they look on the intraday, the give back could be quite violent, especially in these higher price regions. So you almost always want to be careful on gap ups. You want to see where they gapping to. Is there enough room for me to trade, or is it getting into a risky spot where things can die or turn around very quickly? So those are some names for today that I think are worth, paying attention to, and just the sympathy of watching Tesla in its intraday trade. So the last thing I wanted to kind of do is just look at the performance for the month. And this is going to be on Trading Terminal, just kind of seeing how we've been trading, where has the dominance been. The past month or so, it has been heavily focused in communication and discretionaries. A lot of recovery in these names, sort of buying the most beaten down stocks from last year. Communication in particular was definitely the poorest performing, or one of the poorest performing sectors from last year. Now it's experiencing sort of that oversold or just deeper value type of recovery that we often see with pretty deep sell-offs. So, the lower it goes, sometimes the higher it can bounce. The percentages can kind of skew that depending on where you're anchored. But all in all, this has kept the market bullish. These sectors leading means that the market has some relative breadth that's going to keep us elevated. In the middle, we're seeing a little bit more of the sort of mid-cycle names, financials, energy, not necessarily underperforming, maybe compared to the S&P at 5%, but these are in line. They're kind of keeping up with the S&P's performance, and all in all, a little bit of that sort of breadth argument. As long as we're not seeing sort of all out selling, the strength in the right sectors, the risk on, and then the overall performance or equal performance in mid-cycle sectors like financials, materials, industrials, etc. That keeps the market relatively healthy. The thing that, of course, is the drag right now is we are seeing more profit taking in more defensive sectors. Healthcare has underperformed over the past month. Staples, classic kind of defensive names, and then utilities. So, as far as sector regions go, this is almost broken into risk on or a little bit more growth oriented, your mid-cycle or cyclical types of names here, and all the way down to industrials, and then your defensive. You can literally break it into those three components. So very interesting first month of January. A couple surprises here and there, but all in all, keeping the indices healthy. The thing I will argue, though, is we're getting to a price region that I think, barring the S&P's attempt to break out, is going to be one of contention. S&P kind of got through its 200, at least in the short term, is maybe stalling out a bit. The NASDAQ is coming to test it. And what's interesting here is that this is our leadership. The leadership from a technical perspective is just trading on a range. It's a kind of an oversold area, but it's holding. It's a range region that's recovering, and it's for the most part kind of marked off. We knew this was going to be an area of pretty high support. This sort of electionary low back in 2020, holding up the NASDAQ, keeping our price region well defined. You can even see the rejection here. This high marked off the high back here. So kind of interesting how we're seeing the same response. Deeper retracement on rejection, higher low versus almost equivalent low. And then, of course, the bounce. Staying in this price region potentially could be one of the challenges for the next couple months. And a lot of bulls are probably going to be looking for this high to kind of set the stage for the next move. If we can hold, maybe pull back a little bit in range and then get out, that would, of course, kind of equate to another round of strength. And while it's not necessarily as optimistic as we saw last year, the highs of this region start to open up. If we don't see that, consider the range and consider how, as we get to this upper boundary, the tech stocks are getting a little bit riskier to kind of play, especially if you're someone who's really just looking at like 50% pullbacks of a total index price region. So we're getting into a zone that I think is going to be a big deciding point. And in the next couple of weeks, we could start seeing some forces against the market, like a dollar bounce, just a monthly lower high kind of setup, or anything to do with the FOMC and the rate hike decision from next week. That's going to be, of course, the big focus item for next week's trade. So let's kind of see how we're pricing some of that for next week. I believe right now we're still looking at, market for the most part agrees that on this meeting, we should be seeing a 25-point rate hike. So, the Fed technically is slowing their cycle. We're looking at sort of that target rate of about 5 to 5.25. That should be coming in May or June, depending on how we kind of get there over the next couple months. Any surprises or any tone shifts are going to be things that the market is sensitive to at this point in time. So, all right. And as I mentioned, it's Thursday. So if y'all do want to look at any tickers or have any questions, we'll take a look at that. So, Imrod, I tried your butterfly and sim for Tesla. What actually happens once market opens with options post earnings? You can manage them. So in general, what happens is it's just another trading session. But because you played an earnings play, the thing that's going to very likely happen is this implied volatility reading is going to start shooting down very quickly. A butterfly tends to be okay with that. You know, the volatility contraction actually helps with some of that premium realization of the butterfly's risk region. But butterflies are more sensitive to price too, even the one that I showed yesterday, which was an unbalanced version. So depending on where your target was, you know, let's assume you played Tesla bullish to its expected move, which it is hitting, you know, technically that should be a winner. The volatility reduction will be part of that dynamic, and you might see a little bit of skew in hitting the target and the fact that it's not Friday versus the volatility coming down. So, but for the most part, look and see how it played. You know, you played it in sim, so you can kind of track the premium and the profitability. Okay, so let's look at Disney. Let's see. So, you know, starting on a weekly is always kind of nice. You can see some of the massive volatility that this stock is kind of undertaking. I would even argue there was a bit of an undercut of a slanted support. You know, it was arguably holding some pretty decent bounces, but then they undercut it and kind of like, you know, maybe kind of saw a little bit of fear and just uncertainty as the stock was starting to drop down, but then it recovered. So a little bit of a trap there for bears. The price regions that are interesting historically are back over here, you know, this high, this low kind of stuff. You're going to see a little bit of confluence with that currently on these charts. You know, as you get to horizontals on the weekly, should be obvious where support and resistance is. You know, hopefully this chart is a little simple compared to some other charts, but those are levels to play. As we're rallying, you also want to see any disruption on previous trends. This pivot is a problem. So as bullish as it looks right now, we're coming off of a low and we're running into the first pivot. Would I want to play Disney on a day like today? Probably not, because at best, it's going to continue, but it's going to struggle as maybe some resistance is here. At worst, it sells, and then I don't really know where to target. You know, I'd have to look for like a mid-range or something like an engulfing type of setup. And Disney is coming out with its earnings next week, but I also don't see like a reason to play it today. You know, it's kind of extended. It's very strong, of course. You know, this recovery is worth mentioning, but I just don't know if I'd want to play it today at these types of highs, because that's when you start to get choppier price as there's a setup on a later time frame for the sell. If the market's strong, Disney might continue, pop out a little bit, but it's challenging. Like you're already at a region where things are going to be decided. This is a high-low region. You see how this low and this high are the same? I don't necessarily want to play it there on the day. I want to play it to that level and then cut off the bull, you know, bull play. But we're there. So now what? You know, now what do you do with it? Do you sell it? Do you short it? You don't really know if this high is established because yesterday was really strong. So it could pop out and then it can roll if it wants to. Let's see what else. For market AAL. Yeah, so AAL has earnings this morning. Looks like an equivalent hit. It's only pricing about $1 of movement. AAL is a $16 stock. Yeah, I mean, it moved. Is it moving well? not really. Looks kind of like a nothing burger kind of play where it just stays inside of its expected move range. So we'll do one more here, and then there's a question and a couple questions in YouTube. PFE, dividend payout. So probably some of this is coming from the dividend. Earnings next week could bounce. I see the potential for like this setup as a bounce. Bounces probably want to play to the previous swing highs. So barring this dividend, which is kind of the weird part of the technicals, I'd play it to 45.50 on a long, and otherwise I just ignore it. So it just doesn't look like something that's in play. The dividend payout is what you're seeing on the sell. All right, so Amazon, we took a look at this one this morning, but I do like how it's recovering with Microsoft. It was really strong with that Microsoft bounce yesterday. Technicals suggest that there's a little bit more upside. It gets a little tricky because we're also trying to play what's in front of us. And I would argue this extension, if it breaks it to a new high, has more room than the technicals suggest. It's one of those things where the short-term players could probably play to 102, 103 on a breakout, and then they cut it. But the extension suggests a little bit higher. I just need to see it get through resistance. This whole area is resistance right now. So I like it. I like it bullish. It has to clear 100, and then from there, 102 to 103 is a fine target. From that point, be careful, because you can go ABC on this one, but you could also just die at resistance and then trade sideways for another couple weeks. So, as long as we don't lose the low of yesterday, for the most part, that extension idea still remains intact, but it could trade like this. It could go here and then just do some nothing kind of stuff on the side. Looks like my pin's not showing. So, but yeah, it could go up and then just kind of chop around. As long as it's not losing that low, the extension still remains, assuming it makes a new high. CVX, that one's interesting today because there was an announcement of some dividend increase. The way I would consider it is the technical setup. The highest high I'd want to play in this range, because yesterday's low supported this low, is the high that I have marked, about 187.1. Where are we right now? We're almost there. Not quite right. And it's bullish, but I think I'd be kind of struggling to assume higher once you get to it, because this high is a failed high. This is where the range topped out. So we hit the lows, it can move to that high, and then from there it can kind of trade sideways, even with the bullish news. So CVX looks fine. You just have to kind of recognize that this area up here, and I don't know if I have that high marked. I thought it was 187. Maybe it is a little bit lower. This high right here and this touch, those highs are a problem, because this is a failed high. I wouldn't play it up here long. Like, it doesn't look right if it keeps going. So a little bit of room, but it's also kind of limited without another, couple of days of setup and then breakout. But very bullish. I mean, the overall energy dynamic right now is still holding lots of dominant trends. So Last but not least, oh yeah, there's some news coming out right now. Apologies. Um, I think I'm gonna have to cut it off as well. It is 7:30, so apologies, couldn't get to all the questions, but I'll go ahead and answer it in the chat. Trade safe today. Stay tuned for pre-market prep. Have a wonderful rest of your trading week, and we'll talk more next week. Bye for now.
All right. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to PreMarket Prep. I hope you're having an amazing morning. Hopefully, you guys had an incredible day yesterday. I know the SPY and many other things did. Good morning, Norm. How you doing today?
Hey, good morning, brother. I'm well. How are you?
Doing good, my friend. Doing good. So we got some news that's out. Norm, what's the latest and greatest? Let's go there, and then we'll come back
Oh,
to
I
our
didn't hear it
gappers.
come across the squawk. GDP 3.5 versus 3.3 expectation, prior 4.4. Jobless claims 186 versus 205. So, yeah, Q4 GDP 2.9 versus 2.6 estimated. Yeah, so all in, data came in a little bit better than expected. So, we still have new home sales at 10 a.m. We'll see what happens there. Rates have come back a little bit in the mortgage market in the last several weeks. So, see if that helps anything. Yeah, let's see how it pans out. Sometimes it takes a few minutes to digest this kind of news. So,
Yeah, absolutely. We'll keep a track on this and see how the SPY and the overall market reacts to it. All right, guys, let's get to our some of the stuff we had yesterday on our list. And again, what a day it was. We had Amazon, Microsoft, Tesla, BA, Apple, and Shopify. So let's take a look here. Here is on Amazon. We'll go to our action on the 5 minute. So it was a very, very interesting day. You had a lot of gapping down stocks at the market open. And we just got this incredible rally. Jared spoke a little bit about this earlier in the engineering the markets, guys. Every Monday through Thursday at 8 a.m. So make sure you're tuning in for that. Let's give him a thumbs up for all the great information he's putting out there for you guys on YouTube and in our members as well. So here, guys, here's Amazon. Just a little bit of a fake out. You could have got caught on this one here. It looked like great. A lot of the stuff looked like a great opening range breakout yesterday. You didn't get the continuation. You got a nice maybe partial or two. But then from there, look at Amazon just slams back down, which again, also very clean. You could have played this so many ways. The loss of the low of the pre of the day here drops down to 91, and then you get this nice little bounce here that for the most part think okay we're bouncing maybe VWAP maybe high of day, and the market just takes off and everything else alongside with it. So if you were anywhere near a long bias position after 11 after 12, you did very well yesterday. You can see things shoots up all the way to 97. Microsoft had a horrible market open, right? Pre-market had gapped down quite a bit, very bearish sentiment going in. Same thing with Google and some other cloud service type companies. But again, just the market taking over the action yesterday. You can see the beautiful breakout you got here on Microsoft. One of the few days, guys, where Microsoft is actually could be one of the best tickers on our list here yesterday. So that traded very well, not typical activity for them. Tesla also, again, same thing, market action as well on here. I had earnings last night and crushed it for the most part, at least positives, not gapping down, gapping up
yeah.
8.6 today. So that looked very well. We'll talk about that in a second there. Here is BA. BA did the opposite, kind of popped up here and it didn't bounce as hard right away. But after 11, you did get back towards the high of the day. So their overall range was not big because you had the range here and here. But they did play well within that range as well. And again, just so many stocks you could have played. Apple, same thing, guys. Weak start, and then it took a bit for this one to bounce. Like if you look at an Amazon, Microsoft, and some other ones, it seemed like it was more aggressive. But again, they all follow suit here. And then Shopify yesterday. I mean, this thing just finding a way to just climb higher somehow. So we were watching this with John here for a 5-day breakout. Didn't give us good signals. Volume was weird. Price action is so funky as well on this one. But yeah, doing some pretty interesting stuff there. So again, just an overall great day yesterday if you were long. This morning, our gappers list is massive, as you will expect, given the way the market reacted yesterday. Some of the reactions we're getting now, actually before the news came out, you had a positive gap up already. So a lot going on here. We'll dive into this and see what we can pick off that can look interesting. Gapping down, IBM, I believe is earnings. We got a couple of earnings players. We continue here, and we'll see if there's anything good on the gap down. I don't see any great names. Maybe LUV here. Outside of that, these other ones I don't recognize their tickers. So yeah, man, just very, very interesting day yesterday. Let's go ahead and get rid of our gappers list this morning. Now let's talk about Tesla a little, because I know that's a hot one, right? It's been the talk for a while. Norm, did you get a chance to look through their earnings and how
Yeah, well,
everything went?
actually, I was on the call. I was trading it after hours. Had a
Nice.
nice trade on it. Got out before the call. Listened to some of the call. Nothing too incredibly exciting, but their numbers were pretty decent, and they're being rewarded for it. Of course, you got to remember how beaten down they are. From the $400 range a year ago to where we sit now. So
Hmm. Hmm.
obviously, some good news. Bring them back a little bit. Not surprising.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I agree, man. So looking real nice, guys. Volume 7.7 million, and it's not even 9 o'clock yet. So obviously in play today should be a fun one. This thing is just enjoying this rally right now. Let's see what's on our gappers list. Gapping up XM. This is up 30%. Low float. No, not
No,
quite.
I don't believe so.
105 million. So
Yeah.
nice pop today. Any news, Norm, worth watching this?
Yeah, they had earnings last night. Not really familiar with this ticker. Haven't traded it,
Mm-hmm.
but it's a software company. Cloud stuff, I believe it's B2B kind of thing. So anyway, they're
Yeah.
obviously having a good day after earnings last night.
Yeah. Not a complete bad one here, guys. Again, but we don't know how this thing trades. So I'm gonna put it as a possible for now. We can come back to it. Spread looks good right now. I don't know how the spreads throughout the day. The one thing I don't like on the daily is they don't get great volume. They don't have a great daily. But if they can trade well through earnings with this type of volume, they could be a potential that we can watch. But I just think on a day like today, with the way the SPY is moving, there's going to be some really good things are going to be sticking out, like
Yeah.
Tesla sitting here, obviously in play, very strong right now. We have the Billy gapping up 6%, but not really doing a whole lot. So it had an initial gap up very early on, has been sideways for the most part, and then just not a great pre-market activity. So I'm not sure how well that's going to be. And now that I'm looking at the list, I see Neo, I see some other Chinese tickers doing well this morning, at least gapping up. The only one that I'm probably going to look at the moment will be Baba. I think this one has been really good to watch and trade. So definitely going to put this one on the list, guys. 338,000 has been really, really strong. As you can see, this daily is just impressive. So we got XBEF also on here as well. We got Luce, a lot of EVs. So could this be a
Yeah, I think a
sympathy with
lot of these are
Tesla?
trading in a bit of sympathy here. So you'll
Mm-hmm.
see a ton of EVs on our list.
Yeah, yeah. So, again, these guys, man, Rivian, even Lucid at one point were really good. They're not the same ticker anymore. So I'm not the same type of trading ticker that we're used to. Maybe Neo could surprise us today. And guys, remember, we got to keep in mind this nasty candle is not actual price action. This is the New York Stock Exchange mess that happened 2 days ago. So keep that in mind. Um, but yeah, maybe Neo is a possible. I don't know. They got the volume today, so depending how the market goes, and that can get pushed there. Carvana, I have no interest in having this on my list. Looks horrible. No interest at all. MBLY. This is Mobile Eye.
Mobileye.
Yeah, they're up 5.7.
They had earnings last night.
All right, earnings last night. Not a great trade. I think we've seen this before. So yeah, we're gonna keep that off the list for now. All right, let's see what Mara is doing.
Or excuse me, I guess they had earnings this morning, not last night.
This morning.
So apologies.
That's how much interest we have
Thought
in
I
that
heard
ticker.
something. I thought I heard something over the The squawk yesterday, but no, it was this morning.
Yeah, probably earnings coming up. But that's how much interest we have on this ticker. We don't care much with the way it looks right now either way. So again, just not looking great, guys, on it. Let's see, Mara. I prefer coin if this thing is going to be in play today. Coin right now. No, no, I don't like these at the moment. Roblox, you guys remember Roblox has some really crazy price action. Not this. Remember, this is no good. But here has some really, really insane price action, and the intraday action on these 2 days was actually really good. You got a nice drop here after an amazing gap up, and then a continuation sell off as well was really clean, and then from there hasn't really done much. But today they're gapping up 4.2. Uh, they they could
I
be
got an
interesting.
upgrade on an Oppenheimer this morning with an
Mm.
outperform rating. Actually, it's an initiation with an outperform rating. So there's no price target that I see.
All right, excellent. No price target, but we'll see. We'll see if that can create some stuff for. Obviously, they're enjoying this right now. Their range the last couple of days has been just wild. Last 2 weeks. I mean, look at this thing: 38, 33, all the way back up. Now it looks like they want to test that 38 again. So this thing has been wild. Heading down, let's see what else we have here. We have WYNN. What is this? Oh, Wynn Resorts. Yeah, no, I don't like them. They don't trade very well. We've seen them on our list plenty of times. Not a great trader. Is it earnings? Is that what they're on here? Maybe.
You got LVS that had earnings last night. For a fact, Win just popped up. They might be
Yeah.
in sympathy. No, they don't have earnings for a while, so
Okay.
it's going to be a
Low
sympathy
volume.
on LVS, Las Vegas Sands earnings.
Yeah. LVS, I know that there's a few guys that do like this one. I see you guys been trade this in the past. I'm not a fan of it, man. It's I haven't had any luck trying to read the price action on this one, so I kind of stay away from it. Pre-market action is not going to give you a whole lot of information. So if you are interested in this one, you gotta wait for the market open to see what's going to happen. Because usually the pre-market looks just like this, even when they have earnings, when they have any kind of news, you don't get a whole lot of movement. So you'll have to wait for that on there. Shopify is just again wild action the last 3 days. Last week really kind of started on the 13, got this nice massive move, and from there we just been cranking, guys. Right, so again up 3% right now. It is just the price action on this thing. It's I don't get it. I don't like it. It's just it's not easy to trade. Not easy to trade. So mindful if you're going to be trading that one. Be mindful on that. IQ $5. No. We got Riot. We got coins. Probably the most interesting thing out of these bitcoins, and it's not looking well. And let's just finish off the list. Might as well. We have Affirm here, which not doing a whole lot. No pre-market action. Unity software never really looks good. CZR. Nope. No volume.
Caesars, another
Yeah. Also, this is also probably
casino.
another
Yeah.
sympathy. Yeah. Yeah. And then we have Plug, which no, I don't see anything great on this here. So all right, we got a couple of ones that can do okay. Let's see what's gapping down. I never heard of these tickers here, so let's see what's actually on here. SHW. Oh, I know the company, but I don't know the ticker trace any good. So yeah, not sure about this one, guys.
Yeah, the run.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, it looks messy. So the volume, guys, 1.4 for the most part. No good. FNA trying to take the first spot here. FNA is down 14.3. No volume at 105,000 with this move.
Secondary.
Oh, let's move down to SNX. SNX also gapping down a big here, 8%. No volume. Oh, the amount of shares they trade. Also, look at
Secondary.
this, guys. Oh, that's horrible.
Ugly stuff,
Move,
man.
ugly stuff, man. Here's Wolf, down 6.8. Again, no volume, doesn't trade very well. Yeah, I knew this ticket list was going to be horrible.
Semis, they had earnings after hours.
Yeah. Here's the Dow. I don't think we ever actually trade the Dow.
This is not the Dow. This is Dow Chemical Company.
Oh man, what a
yeah.
confusion. Yeah. So yeah, we don't look at this.
You might have insulation from them in your house. They reported earnings this morning.
Okay. Very light volume, guys. I don't know if this thing is going to trade any good today. I'm gonna put my eggs in other baskets. So let's look at LUV here. LUV this morning down 2.6. This could actually be okay. You're not going to get a great pre-market action on it now, but this can actually do something. Any news overall on the airlines?
Uh, well, for Love, there is. They had earnings this morning. Obviously, they got slammed in December when they had all of the travel concerns and
Hmm.
everything else. They took a massive hit on their balance sheet from all those
Yeah.
problems. So they are, the thing about this is everybody knew that they were going to get killed
Hmm.
because of what happened. They'd already discussed it.
Right.
They'd already
Right.
kind of thrown out a number that they thought it was going to impact them. So I'll be curious to see how this plays out.
Yeah, me too. That's why it's such a negative sentiment, at least with this stock, which is all the bad stuff that came out, like you said. And if you look at other airlines, they've been cranking, man. American Airlines, United, they all have just been tearing it up. Southwest hasn't. They have not really had this move up like the other airlines have had, right? Look, if you look at United Airlines as well, see, look at the moves they've
That's what
been having
happens when you
lately.
cancel 3/4 of your flights for a
Yeah.
week in the middle of, the holidays.
Yeah, yeah. So this could be the sleeper today. We'll see. Yeah,
Excuse me.
Chris. I agree. Chris MC doesn't look good. But I don't know, man. Today there could be something here today. We'll see. IBM this morning earnings. Yes,
They
earnings
did
last
have
night.
earnings. That having been said, it's IBM and I'd run.
Yeah, yeah. It's a horrible, horrible today trading ticker. So no interest in that at all. All right, guys, we only got a couple. We got Tesla and Baba, which look very good. I like Baba today with this daily as well. So these are in play. I'm sure we'll have some usual suspects that are going to make their way to our list. But before we start adding those, let me see what you guys have on deck. Norm, anything you like that's not on here?
It's not showing much of a gap now, but look at Apple. Apple had run a couple of times in the pre-market. I'll have it on my secondary at the very least.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I like this one here. Daily also looks very, very nice. Just getting primed here, guys, for a breakout. So I like that as well. Any slight push from the spy, this thing can get going. So definitely like Apple for one of our usual suspects. Let's head over to let's see to our chat here. All right, LUV, yeah, it be investigated. Yeah, they should be investigated. Closing all those flights during the busiest time of the year, some funky business. You got to find out what's going on, right? Chris MC's, let's be honest, Carlos, Tesla, and Baba. What are you really going to play today? Tesla and Baba, if that's all we got. We'll
Yeah.
see. We'll see. AMD, let's take a look at the semis. AMD, we'll look at NVIDIA as well. AMD, I mean, not a whole lot of volume. Pretty quiet right now for the type of morning that it is. I don't see them heavy in play, but they're not, we can't dismiss them because we know what happens, right? The market starts moving and these guys react. So NVIDIA, AMD, I'm putting them as a possible here. I'll decide what I'm going to move up a little bit later. Amazon, I see you throwing out Amazon here, Fabio. That's a good one. That was very, very nice yesterday. So they're daily also getting some good action here as well above this 98, 50, 99. If we can get there. Pretty similar action to Apple at the moment, pre-market wise. So, but I really like the way they traded yesterday, so I'm going to add them to our list. Let's take a look at Google just to see if there's anything fun there. I just think that it's just again, I think there's better trading tickers than this one, so I'm going to keep this one off the list for now. All right, Apple, we have Amazon is good. Thank you, Michael. Probably just yeah, that's a good point. You can trade the overall SPY as well. Right, when the SPY is moving the way it did yesterday, you can actually just trade the SPY. For some reason, I prefer to trade, even though they're doing the exact same thing. I prefer to trade like an Apple, right, or an Amazon. It's just I don't know why mentally. It's just I prefer to trade an actual company. I don't. It just seems better for me for the way I trade, right? So and then I'll use the spy. Like I'll have the spy up and I'll be looking to see what the spy is doing. And if I see this, okay, it looks like it's about to rally. And I have my other six tickers I can take advantage of, right? So I tend to do that. Works well. I think I missed CVX maybe. Yeah, I did. It's on here.
Yeah, so they had news
CVX.
last night. They've got a massive. Well, they announced a dividend, but on top of that, a massive share buyback. I believe it was $75 billion worth of stock that they're allocated to buy back.
Wow.
It's like 20% of their float as it sits right now. It's pretty
Yeah.
big. So
That
it'll
is
be in play.
always great news that they're up 3.6.
Not the greatest trader of all time. Not my
Yeah.
favorite one, but
Yeah. Yeah. I'm curious to see how that's going to trade on something like this. I'm not going to trade it because I don't like the way the price action is. Be on the lookout for the spread, so it could get funky at times. But we'd like to see how that's going to trade today on that news. All right, there we go, guys. There we have it. Let's see what else we have over on our YouTube chat. So Rivian, and we'll take a look at Wayfair. Rivian here. Oh, there's my phone. I was trying to look where my phone was so I can mute it. And there it is. All right. Rivian this morning. We looked at this. I don't know, man. These EVs, uh, besides Tesla, Neo at times. We had a 1 day like a few weeks ago on Neo. I'm not sure. I'm not sure on them. And again, yesterday everything traded very well, guys. So don't get overly excited about what happened yesterday. I mean, you could have picked almost any stock, and you would have gotten this nice move, right? It's just everything was heading northeast. So uh, I don't know how this thing is going to trade today. Tesla's in play for sure. This is just a kind of sympathy play. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. But I'm not inclined to put it on my list yet. We do have our scanners though, right? If I see Neo, if I see Rivian, if I see even Coin, right? Coin is one that could do something today. If they get going, we could take advantage of it. Here's Wayfair. I think the fun might be over, at least for volume and volatility at the moment. You're just not. You see that you had two really nice days, and actually, it traded amazing a couple of days ago here. It traded really well. The price action was actually very clean. If you don't get this type of volume, I don't think you're going to see that type of price action again, and that's the concerning thing with Wayfair. Even though it's moving up here, it might just return to trading the way it has been, which is look at the volume, guys. It's nothing, and that dictates a lot how the price action is going to be. WDB, I think it's not a great one. No, Warner Brothers trades horrible. So I usually stay away from that as well. First time tuning in, are these day traders? Yes, they are. These are day trading tickers that we're putting together. So thank you for joining us. Make sure to subscribe. We'll love to have you back here. That is Matt. Love to have you back here on a regular. Okay, excellent, guys. We're set. SPY, QQQs. Yep, Chris, agree. And American Airlines, I don't know if it's really in play. Let me see. They're not on our list, but they're up 1.4. They got volume though. Earnings on American Airlines?
on which one?
Oh yeah, American Airlines had earnings this morning. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
know what?
Trade very well intraday.
Yeah, it's not looking good. They had a better day here. Their pre-market actually was looking real nice. They actually traded decent there. Not sure. We'll put it as a possible. Let's see. Let's see what it does. All right, guys. I think we have a pretty good list for right now. Let's go ahead over and to our community events and announcements, and then we will fine tune our list a little bit later.
Yep. Just a reminder, every Monday night, 8 p.m. Eastern, you've got onboarding and technology with my man Carlos. Be sure to check that out, especially newer members get a feel for BBT and everything else involved. Tuesday nights, we've got strategy. We had Paris at 8 p.m. Eastern talking about reading the tape. On Tuesday, that webinar is posted for your viewing pleasure, so be sure to check that out. And then next Tuesday, you've got Megan. She's going to be talking about optimizing your performance, reach your trading goals. Then psychology last night was Randy Howe. That should be posted soon. Next week, Dr. Kenneth Reed's going to be talking about the book, The Best Loser Wins. Should be a very interesting conversation. Be sure to check him out next week at 8 p.m. Eastern. Thursdays, we have mentorship, 11 a.m. with John and 8 p.m. with Thor. TradingTerminal.com, where we are building out tools for the active trader. Everything, you've got the scanners there, replay simulator. We've got news stuff, Insider, which we'll discuss in a little bit. Of course, we're in the middle of earnings season, so that calendar, be sure to check it out. All free, all tools that many people spend thousands of dollars a year for. San Diego, guys, March 2nd and 3rd, it is fast approaching. We're going to have our 2-day live trading summit in San Diego. You can navigate to that page from the home screen where you see that. And or bearbulltraders.com/workshop. Yeah, looking forward to seeing everybody. So check out that page, got the schedule and everything we'll be doing on that. If you are watching on YouTube, you'd like to try out the chat room, use the promo code PreMarket34 when you sign up for the intro membership. It'll give you 7 calendar days, 5 trading days in the room. It is a one-time payment, does not auto-renew, and if you'd like to become an elite member and gain access to all of the webinar material, use the promo code WINTER50 to get half off the elite annual membership.
All right, perfect. Thank you, Norm. Okay, guys, let's get to our list. We'll do some levels, and then we can always go back and check what else is moving that maybe is not on this list. So only 5 so far, but I think these 5 are looking pretty decent, except for Love here. It will need to get going, but I like the setup today. I think it might surprise us. All right, let's look at Tesla right now. So Tesla at the moment, again, just continuing to rip higher here, guys. Look at this action you're getting this morning. Low of the pre-market is 157. And we're pushing up here. I'm sorry, 152. We're pushing up to 157. So really, really nice action so far, showing a lot of strength. 152.49 is the low of the pre-market. High of the pre-market, we'll wait till that gets set. But a couple of areas you want to mark down here. This one here, I'm going to mark this area here, which is 156. I'm also going to mark down this 157. You had a little bit of resistance there. So if we do drop below that, that can be resistance again for a possible breakout. Or if we hold here, it can be support. So I think overall, you want to have this this area here. This is going to be 157.13 around there. So that is good. Towards the bottom, you have plenty. I'm not going to add anything down here. Highs and lows for the last 2 trading days. And I really doubt that Tesla's going to be coming back to those lows. I mean, just the way it looks right now, it is really, really strong, unless something completely falls off the handles here. Here we have guys, what is this? 160, 160, 68. So we'll slam a level there. And then above this, we do have a not a great level. Actually, yeah, you got some action there. Not a lot of touches, but 167.80, you got a couple of stuff happening there as well. So that's Tesla. I think that's good for now. If we start hitting some of these levels, we can always go back up here and find some more levels up there. But at the moment, looking really nice, very strong. Guys, 9.7 million shares traded, just cranking this morning.
Very active.
And you traded this last night, right, Norm? You said?
I did.
Yeah, excellent. Baba here,
it was a
guys.
nice short before the earnings call.
Yeah, it did. It give you a nice drop there. Here's Baba, guys, 121.18. So high of the pre-market at the moment. I like the daily on Baba, guys. I like the pre-market action as well. I think we got decent volume. So we'll see how this plays out. This has been very strong, kind of been leveling off a little bit here. So you're not getting this crazy move that we had before. But I noticed that many of the other Chinese stocks have not had this success that Baba is having recently. So I'm interested to see if that is going to continue. Obviously, we're getting to an area of big resistance here, trying to get above that. We were here in June, July. We weren't able to get above that then. Look at the drop we had since then, all the way down to 60, now back up to 120. Above where we're sitting right now, as far as the high of the pre-market goes, we do have a level here over at 125. And just in case, guys, we do have another one at 123.40. So let's see what Baba gives us today. LUV is my sleeper for today. We'll see what it does. So we do have low of the pre-market sitting at 35.60. So we'll slam a level there, and then below that, not a great daily, by the way. You can see how choppy this daily is compared to the Tesla we just saw, even compared to Baba. Baba has a better daily than this thing does, right? So not the best intraday trading ticker, but with everything going on with earnings, I think this is a nice one today. 34.85 level down here for us, and then you have your highs and lows for the last 2 trading days, previous day close. Everything here doing a good job for you. All right, here is Apple. So Apple, for the most part, again, I like the daily on Apple, guys. Been trending very, very well here. We're slamming against the area of resistance. Hopefully that can continue. Right now, just doing overall market stuff. But when you tie that in to a nice daily like this one, it just becomes more explosive, right? There's more conviction that this thing can break out. And if the SPY breaks out, then there's more people that are just looking at this saying, oh man, look at this, the breakout I've been planning for. And they'll jump on board, and then we can get a really nice move out of this. So planning for that. Not saying that's going to happen, but definitely planning for that. 145.28 area of support and resistance here. So we'll mark that down. I mean, I think that's pretty good for now. There is something in between here, though, worth marking down, right? I think this is going to be, I'm seeing it at 144.45, maybe 38. But you got a couple of days slamming in there. So that's good. Opening and closing right on there. Again, not a major level like the two around it, but I think it's worth having on there in case we do get this breakout above this 143 with a possible run. Towards the bottom, you just got this beautiful daily giving you beautiful levels. Do not need to complicate things. So we're good there. Um, oh man, this looks like the tie from the Colonel from KFC. You guys seen the tie?
You hungry this morning?
No, I'm not hungry at all. But I saw a meme where some people thought that that tie thing was his body. They thought it was his small body and not actual tie. I was like, wait, what? And actually, now that you look at it, it does look like a small body. You gotta look it up. It's funny as heck. So here it is,
Just
guys.
telling me
Amazon.
that what I already knew.
What was that?
I said you're just telling me what I already knew, that there's a
Yeah.
bunch of not very intelligent people on the
I'm just
planet.
I'm just confirming. I never saw it as a body, but I'm like, wow, it's yeah, see there it is. People thought that this, and we got some time, it's early 9:01. Why not? People thought that this was his body, and it's just not like intentionally small body with a big head. Oh,
Okay.
it's so fun. With that said, guys, let's get back to our last one on the list. Last but not least, because this thing was explosive yesterday. Um, yeah, well, T, I could see a kid, or someone younger thinking that. That's okay.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
different.
that's okay, because
We're
that's how
not
they would
talking about
draw.
that.
Yeah, that's how my daughters, or my son would draw a cartoon guy, whatever. I have the pre-market 98.43 with slamming level there, and then above that we have 99.22. Guys, Amazon was incredible yesterday, really, really good. Towards the bottom, you're all set. Highs and lows for the last two trading days. You don't got your nasty wick here messing up Amazon because it was sitting on the Nasdaq, right? So remember, guys, only New York Stock Exchange tickers have this nasty, and now all of them because Baba doesn't have it, did it? Like Love has it here. So Nasdaq doesn't have that nasty spike that we had today. Man, look at this thing go! Wow, it is it's explosive, guys. It's cranking. All right, that's our list, guys. Anything else out there that is not on our list that's making some noise besides Tesla, Amazon? Yeah, Amazon's just slamming into this level, man. I think it'll break. I think we're setting up for a strong open. Never know if that's actually going to hold here because many times we've seen this and we can just come back down and we retest this 400 here, this previous day close, right? So we'll see, we'll see. But right now, man, if you're bullish, you're dancing. Things have been looking pretty good lately. Um, Donovan, now I am hungry. All right. I like Neo today has interesting volume, but has traded not lately, has traded horrible for a very long time now. A couple of days here and there, you have some good trades, but outside of that, Neo has not been good. But yeah, today, with Tesla pushing the way it is, a lot of these EV vehicles are going to be on sympathy, and Tesla's really strong right now. So you might see some of these guys move. I think that's what you're seeing. Lee, XPEF, Rivian, who else is on here? That's the only reason why you got these guys on there. I don't think there's anything going on their end. Lucid. I mean, they're all here. They're all here today. Neo, I think after Tesla, I think Neo is probably the second best one in the EV sector, right? Unless you want to trade Ford. Unless you want to trade Ford, and yeah, it's not a system. Um, Good morning. What's your thoughts on AMD? I have AMD as a secondary here, guys. I don't know. The semis, they're not doing a whole lot right now, but if the SPY continues to rally the way it is, I think you could watch either AMD or Nvidia. I think they're both really good. I like Nvidia a little bit better, I'll be honest. I like the fact that there's a clean daily here. If you look at an AMD, you got a little bit of a mess not a mess, but you got some levels coming up here. Most recent on Nvidia, if you look at this, it just looks like, okay, we're just gonna keep going, right? There's no recent levels on here, so that's nice. We got over this hump here, so that's good, right? The less resistance you have towards the top, the better. We got over this, so when's the last time we're here? Yeah, so we're going back until May of last year. So to me, this looks much nicer than AMD does, right? AMD has a little more resistance here as well. and more recent levels in this area. So for me, Nvidia looks actually very, very good as far as daily. So we'll see. They'll be in play, guys. I think they'll be in play. They're not looking great right now. Their volume is a little bit lighter than what we've seen. I think I just convinced myself that Nvidia will be the one on my list. But yeah, we will see. We'll see
Twist
how
your
that
own
goes.
arm.
Yeah, yeah. Um, so all right, we got Thor in with his list. We'll look at that next. We'll check out some moderators list. Guys, any questions? Anything you want me to look at? Carlos, can you see STX? Doesn't sound good. Anything with yeah. Yeah, Seagate. Oh, and we heard of the company before, but don't remember the ticker. These guys don't trade well, man. Very light volume. You got this one gap up here, which is nice if you were sitting here on a swing up 9.5. I don't see anything else that would be interesting as far as day trading, right? So just be careful. And again, and we just want to remind people, right? When we say something is garbage like this or trash, it all depends on your trading style. For my trading style, this is pure garbage right here for the way I trade. The way you trade might be completely different. This could be gold, but this is not good for my style of trading. And the majority of active type traders are not going to like this one here. Um, in conference call, what maybe Norm could see, Elon said that a Chinese EV could be the biggest competition in 5 years, so could be part of the Chinese EV push. Maybe.
Huh?
Well, we'll see. Time will tell.
Eh.
Uh, I I don't know. I find that hard to believe a little bit, especially with the giants you have here in the U.S. Ford, these guys are coming out with some really nice EV vehicles, right? So we will see. We will see. Uh, Unless they're just talking about the Chinese market, but not the overall U.S. market, right? So all depends. Tesla, 11 million shares traded already. Yeah, man, it's cranking. 11 going to 12. This thing is it's got to be on record highs as far as volume for the pre-market. It's got to be up there. This is pretty good. Yeah, exactly. Chasing junk will only kill you. There you go. Carlos, how is the 5 minute ORB strategy working lately? Very well, very well. So for example, look at Amazon yesterday, right? Look at Amazon. You didn't get the continuation, but you did get a move here, right? You did get a move. That's not great, but you did get a move on there on Amazon for a 5 minute. And if you look at the day before, we got plenty of stuff that was actually moving well on a 5 minute, right? So, and also keep in mind, guys, Andrew had a great 5 minute trade as well. I forget the ticker. Was it Tesla? I forget the ticker, but he put the recap on there. 5 minutes happens all the way until here, right? So you can have an actual breakdown of the 5 minute up to, I don't go past an hour, but you can have a breakdown even later. It doesn't have to be the exact same 5 minute mark, 6 minute mark, right? So it can happen later down the line. And what we've seen is the first 15 minutes are tough, but you can have a breakout a little bit after that, right? Which is then becomes a combination of high of day and also a 5 minute. So you kind of go hand in hand with that as well. So, but yeah, it's been trading well. Look at Nvidia. This is actually a better one because you do get the pullback. So that's a nice 5 minute there. Um, there's a few. There's a few. We can't go over all of them, but there's a several 5 minute strategies. Susan had put one on Twitter. Had a beautiful 5 minute trade on I forget the ticker's name. I can't remember the tickers, but she had a great trade she put up on Twitter, and she had a great entry. She just needed to weigh a little bit more. She was too impatient with her break even, um, but she had a great trade, and her strategy worked really good there. So sorry, you mean you don't count on the minute by minute when live? Not sure what that means. We don't count minute by minute.
No, focus on the 1 minute chart, I think is what you were trying to say.
Oh no, I don't.
Focus on the 5 minute chart.
I focus on the 5 minute. I have the 1 minute up, right? To see how that 5 minute is forming. That's important, right? You want to see how the 5 minute is forming in smaller candles. And sometimes, guys, we have a webinar in the Education Center breaking this down with some examples. And sometimes at the 3 minute mark, sometimes you could get in a little early depending how it's forming, depending where the VWAP is. Again, we won't have time to go through all of that here, but sometimes the between 3 to 5 minutes you can get a really good entry. And I also have some examples on Twitter with notes on it on how we took the trade. So You could follow us me at Carlos M BBT on Twitter, and Norm, your Norm BBT on Twitter. So you can
At
follow us
Norm
there.
BBT. Yeah.
Yep, and then see some examples that we put up. And also check out a recap. I think it was yesterday, or the day before, from Andrew on how to trade a 5-minute opening range breakout. That's on the YouTube channel. Uh, yeah, the price action will be the same, but if you focus on a smaller time frame, there could be so many fake outs, man. So a bigger time frame is gonna give you a more stable picture, right? The price action is not gonna change; it'll be the same, but
You get better confirmation on a
you get
5.
confirmation.
It's a
Yeah,
huge part of it.
exactly, exactly. If it's extended, if it's not extended, so many things to look at, guys. Um, all right, 910. Let's show you guys Trading Terminal Insider. Know if we want to kind of go over this a little bit, kind of give people an idea of what we got going on here. Some pretty great stuff out
Yeah,
there.
so this is a new feature that we've put up. We're using AI to take a whole bunch of data points and put them in a few different formats. We've got 3 major sections here. At the top, you've got retail. What retail investors are looking at is sweeping Reddit, looking at Wall Street bets and such. You got a word cloud created. The bigger the word, the more it's talked about. The color determines bearish or bullish. You can see the scale at the bottom there. And then also individual tickers over on the right-hand side with determining their sentiment and popularity. So check that out. Second, politicians, as we know, the only people that are allowed to use inside information for trading and get away with it. So yeah, you've got politicians and what they've traded, how much they've traded, and the type of transaction, and then corporate lobbying over to the right. And then institutions. So this is funds and money managers and such. Most of the big ones compiling their filings and everything else, giving an idea of what they're investing in at any given time. So be sure to check that out.
All right, excellent. All right, guys, we're all set. Let's take a look here at our moderators list, see who we have on here, and we'll get rocking and rolling. So let me bring this over. Guys, if you haven't done so already over on YouTube, hit that thumbs up. I know we got some new viewers today as well, so thank you for that. Make sure you subscribe. We are sitting at 154. We'd love to be over 200. If you could help us get there, that would be amazing. So thank you for that. All right, let me bring over our moderators list, see what the team is watching and what we have on deck. A lot to watch today, so definitely is going to be an interesting open, I believe. All right, so taking a look at this, we'll bring this down a little bit here. We'll start with Thor. Thor's looking at the SPY, Tesla, ADM, and AMD. ADM, yeah, is that a ticker?
I don't know about ADM.
Okay.
Thor must be drinking early today.
Thor, do you know something we don't know? Share, man. Megan is looking at the SPY.
Low volume,
Microsoft.
farm products.
Yeah. I thought at first it was a
They had earnings.
typo.
They had earnings, but
yeah. Abby, I agree with Abby. He probably meant EDM. Jared, looking at Tesla, Neo, and Lee. Sympathy plays there, and then and I agree with this. I think Neo and Lee could be exciting there, and then we have Google as well. Secondary list CVX this morning, which I have my secondary because I want to see that catalyst is pretty positive. So we'll see how that plays out. Susan looking at Tesla, Netflix, AMD, Nvidia, and then Jared's looking at Rivian and oh no, he's adding Rivian to his list here as well. All right, perfect, guys. That is what we have. Brian and Andrew are up next, guys, trading live, taking you through the market open here. So looking forward to their list. We'll wait for Brian to throw out his list because I know you guys on YouTube always ask me when I don't share his list, just a message, where's Brian's list? So we'll wait for Brian to throw out his, and we will get rocking and rolling here, guys. Let's see here. Let's take a look at Tesla. What's going on with our buddy? Oh,
continues to go. It keeps giving these fake signals that it might start turning around, and then hauls ass up the other.
Yeah. Man, look at this. So
drops down 20-30 cents. Looks like it might roll over and then shoots up $2. Tesla doing Tesla things.
Yes. The volatility on this ticker, guys. You got to be careful. If you're gonna trade this today, you got to give it space, right? You could be right, but you got to give it space. So be very, very
watch your
aware of that.
size.
Yeah, watch your size. You don't need a whole lot. A couple of shares can get you a nice return on this if you're, if the market's going to head in your direction. I will put another level here, 115.
Since
I
they're
see.
asking, I'm watching Tesla, maybe Apple,
Yeah. Oh, yeah, your
NVIDIA,
watch list.
AMD.
Yeah.
Tesla might be all one needs, really.
Yeah, I
Today.
agree. I like Tesla. I think Apple's could rip here. We'll see Apple as well. All right, very good. There are bullish Qs and the Q. Are they our bullish QQQs and SQQ? Well, no, Q is just Qs, right? So you could be bullish or bearish, depending on how you want to trade it. And then SQQ is bearish, correct?
Yes.
SQQ is bearish, right? So, although if it's going up, it's doing the opposite
Inverse.
of what the Qs are doing, inverse, right? Right.
All
And I
right.
believe it's leverage, so be careful on that as well. All right, guys. Oh, here it is. Brian's list: Meta, Tesla, Neo, AMD, and SHW. Peter's list: AMD, Tesla, American Airlines. Secondary list: Apple, Amazon, and Wind as well. Guys, take care. Trade safe over on YouTube. We will see you again. Remember, tomorrow, no engineering the market, so we will see you at 8:30 with pre-market show with Norm and I. Take care, guys, and trade safe.
Take care, guys. Trade safe.
Look at that today as well. What else? That's about it. It's just everybody's loving life. The markets are loving life. So Neo XPEV obviously getting a bit of a bid on the Chinese stuff as well, on the Tesla comments. And we'll see here. Yeah, don't forget, we've got this trading summit coming up in beginning of March 2nd and 3rd, 2023 in San Diego. Hola, YouTube people out there. ¿Cómo estás? Muy bien. Ah, nice, Chris. I don't think Andrew, bien amigo, I don't think Andrew's covering his calls. Jared. Yeah, Qs are breaking out here. Meta's breaking out to the upside. We did have a bit of a spike in Meta, kind of a weird print. But Qs look like they're going to be strong. We might end up getting into a trending day. SPY is looking strong. I'm not speaking at this webinar. I don't know why they don't want any. I did in Florida, but other people have much more important things to say. But there's a whole host of great, really great speakers that'll be speaking at the seminar. As far as a webinar goes, I think I do have a webinar coming up in early February, scheduled to do one. So yeah, Qs and SPY breaking out. Tesla's up and really up past a downtrend line. I was looking at the downtrend line of around 50 to 55 should be topping out, but it's not. Obviously, it's almost 59. We're probably going to see Tesla print 160 and maybe even more today if we just get a continuation move on this on the SPY and the Qs. I was looking at Sherwood-Williams for a rising devil trade. It's not really shaping up that way right now. What else? NVIDIA's looking good. The semis are looking good right now. AMD's up over 2%. Yeah, I caught a really nice move yesterday after I signed off. I just looked like the Qs were just going to start to move, so I just took SQQ or TQQ long and just held it for most of the day yesterday. So turned into a pretty decent day, and I had shorted UNG as well because it just continued to sell off as it's doing this morning. Netflix, the only red thing on the screen. Disney's actually very red, but 2 cents. So Disney essentially flat. Yeah, I don't get this market reaction. I would have thought that if you'd have told me last night, jobless numbers were going to come in pretty positive, positive in a sense that there's not a lot of movement in the labor market. Still, labor market is fairly strong for people looking for work. So that really doesn't help the Fed. And the GDP number came in stronger than expected. So, I mean, that just means the Fed's work is not done. And they're just going to keep tightening until they see, until, like Andrew says, the economy screams uncle. But yeah, I was thinking, and Andrew's friend, Andrew knows somebody who works at what is it? Was it Google, or was it? Anyway, it was one of the big tech companies. Anyway, he said he got, of course, like all of these people are getting laid off, but guys, got a package. I think it's about 6 months. So, for the next 6 months, they're not going to be making jobless claims because they get all this money. At least that's the way it works in Canada. And, just more money to spend. Like they're going to get that money like right now. So why not take some time off, chill out, go on a vacation? Life is for the time being, life's good. All right. Meta's strong. Okay, we're getting a bit of a pullback here. 5 minutes left, 4 minutes left to the open. Nvidia pulling back a bit. Getting a little bit of a pullback now. All right, well, we're just gonna have to wait because it's hard to chase the market into the open here. So what a comeback yesterday, eh? What a comeback yesterday. I knew it. I tell you, I still think that people don't, they're not looking for any kind of a pullback. It's reflected in the VIX, and there's just, if anything, there's just people out there that either missed the bottom or feeling like the market's never going to go back and test those lows again. So they're just getting in now in anticipation of better days ahead. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.